Welcome to a Roboflow training movie. In this training movie, I will show you how you can rename assets, files using Roboflow. Here are two possible scenarios. The first scenario we're going to use is the hotfolder rename file, which means that it's going to look in a folder and process the newly dropped files that are in there and do something with them. So interval I'm going to put on demand so I can run it manually whenever I like. Parameters is where am I going to look for this? Well, I created here a little folder called hotfolder. Select, but in reality this is the same thing as my application folder, so I'm going to do it like that so this workflow can be reused. Please be mindful about this, that or let's do it this way, that's even better. I'll do it this way. We'll put param folder and Control X and we'll redo this. So we're going into workflows and I'm going to use this folder, and inside this folder I'm going to create hot folder like that. And now I have my path to that hot folder. And actually this is exactly the same thing as putting it like this. Param folder. If you don't know these placeholders, just click on the hash sign, click once more on the hash sign, and if you are inside the scripts you will get a drop down where you can select them from. Here in the parameter editor it doesn't exist. So I'm doing here select, and yes, it's of course complaining. Select, Control A, X, cancel, and to here slash, and it's here. Okay, I need to save. Okay, and then what am I going to do in this first example is I'm going to copy the file to a new location, and while copying it, changing its name. So I can here say file folder, and the first thing I need to do is create a target folder. So I'm going to store a path as a folder. Storing a path as a folder, and which path? Well, I'm going to use the same location, but now going to call it target folder. Target folder. And what do I want to do? Well, I want to create it if it doesn't exist, and I'm calling this target folder like that. And I always give some extra information here in my help, which makes my script easier to read. Next instruction is that I'm going to copy the file. So Cumulus catalog, and I'm going to say that I'm going to copy the file, and I'm selecting the hot file, which is the current file. Roboflow always offers the current object under the tag hot. So in case of a hot folder, it's a hot file. In case of a record, it's a hot record. In case of a category, it's a hot category, etc., etc. Which folder? This one. And then I have here the target file name. For the target file name, I can use whatever syntax I like. So I want to say demo underscore, and then I can use the original file name if I want. I can store it. I will show you that in a moment, or I can just rename it and give it a date timestamp. And now, as I told you before, so if I slowly click // this hash hash, this will appear, and I get some placeholders, and here I can have one formatted exactly like I want it. So I can say I want a date format, and it has to be something like year, month, day, and then I want to say, okay, maybe I want here in a file name I don't like colons, so I'm going to do it like this, for instance. And then I need the file extension. So that is, I could say here dot something, but I don't know, perhaps it's a TIFF, it's a JPEG. So I prematurely added that file name. So what I am going to do is new, and I'm going to say I'm going to store a part of a file as text, and that the part I'm going to store is coming from the hot file, and here I'm going to store the file name without extension. So I can say file name without. Yeah. And I'm also going to store the file name with. So I could retype, reselect this, or I just do copy paste, and now I say stored file name extension, store file name extension. See? So now I have the file name and its extension. So here in the copy I can say I want to edit this, and I can say demo date, and then I can say here I want to what do I want? I want to add the file name, the original file name. So I'm going to add a tag. I slowly click / and I can find that tag. I want the file name without, so it adds it, and then I want the file extension. So I could say now I want a file extension. So the file extension is always included with the dot. So I can say now hash hash, and there it comes, my drop down, and I can say I want the file extension. So this will create a new file with a new name in that target folder. I could also have created a target subfolder, because maybe this file was actually in a subfolder when it was dropped, and you want to keep the subfolder structure. So I can say, okay, here I want to, oh sorry, I don't want a new action. All I have to say is edit, and here I can add to this path something interesting, which is the subfolder, and I'm in a hot folder workflow, so you will find hot subfolder here. This is the part of the string of the path inside the folder from which you're picking it up. So here I'm adding that part, and it will create a new folder. Finally, I can decide if it's necessary for this workflow to catalog the file. So now I can say new, and I can say I want to open a catalog. Of course, it has to know which catalog to send it to, and I can select a catalog. So I'm going to take the sample catalog, and then I can say new. I can say next thing I want to do is catalog the file. And which file? Well, the copied file I want to catalog. The variable of catalog to use is this catalog. I'm using the standard asset handling set and the standard permission template. Another thing we could do is here hash hash, and we could use the standard one that is defined in your global parameters, so you don't have to reinvent it. You can just and that way it's not spread out over all your scripts. You don't have to figure out which asset handling set if there's only one to be used. And so this one, I can say that I do it this way. When I'm saving the script, I'm quickly going to check if I did set it up, because that's important. And you see that I did set up the permission template, and you must make sure that this one exists, otherwise it won't work. And I forgot to set up this one, so I'm saying standard. Here we go. And that's it. And that's our workflow. So now let's go and have a look. We can go and have a look inside my folders. Remember that I was not, so I'm gonna pick up this one. I was not using that data folder. I was using it in here inside, and then paste. But if I want, I can put it in a subfolder or multiple subfolder, just to make sure that it also creates that. So you see there is not yet a target folder here, but it will be created automatically. Let's have a run of the workflow. So let's go to here, and I can say start workflows, because it was my very first workflow, which means that Roboflow wasn't started yet. And so now Roboflow is running. If you're running this as a service, it will be started, but this is a test environment. And if I click here start, it will run the workflow. What happens is that if we have a look in that hot folder, the folder is still here, but the file has disappeared. And here target folder, it has created that, and it has renamed the file to demo date time with the original name, and .png being the original extension. If we have a look in Roboflow, sorry, not Roboflow, in Cumulus, and we go to the sample catalog, sample catalog open, and we look for the word demo. There it is. There's the picture we just added, and we will see that, of course, here this is coming from my computer, so it's probably going to have some category tree. You see this part we could avoid, and this is ugly. We could add categories if we wanted, and so in this case, here's the category we were looking for. It's actually here on this in this folder. Now another example of how we can work with renaming. Let's say that we want to rename this file and we want to remove the first demo word part. This is a different kind of renaming, which means that we're going to create a new workflow, and this is now going to be a hot collection. So we're going to do a query, and so hot collection rename asset, which is process a list of records, and that list of records is here in the workflow. We're going to run it on demand, and this list of record is coming from the sample catalog. And the query is going to be very simple. I'm going to say record name starts with is this one. Starts with demo underscore. If you don't know this syntax, you can just go to the advanced search of your Cumulus client, and it in the advanced find window of your Cumulus client, and you can construct the query there. So if I do a little test on the sample catalog, and I can say okay, then oh sorry, I have to do test, a little bit too quick, test, and the sample catalog, and I say test. You see it finds this one record, so that's the record it will be processing. What do I want to do with it? Well, I want to pick up the name of the file, and so I'm going for Cumulus record, and I'm going to store a record field value as a text, from which record, from the hot record, the current record, which field, record name, and I say rec name. Here I will type the name as comment. Good. Now I have the record name, and now I want to do something with the name. I want a substring of it, so a text manipulation. So I go to the text actions, and I say I want the substring, for instance, a subpart of a string, and which means that I'm going to take this, and I could say I want, and here you have the explanation, from character X to, or if I want to the last part of it, I could just skip the second section, so second number. So I'm just saying demo. I want to remove the word demo dash or demo underscore. So I say new rec name, like that. And I'm going to, now I'm going to say, I'm going to do in Cumulus file action, I'm going to rename a file. So here, rename, in Cumulus we call it an asset, so it's rename asset, and it says which is your new file name. Well, I'm going to pick up that variable. I could type it in, it's tag, and then new rec name tag, like this, and I can put that here so I know which new name I took. And that's how simple it is to rename a file in Cumulus. So if I save this, it will not only rename the record name, but it will also rename the real file name. So let's check this, and let's run this workflow. So at this point in the catalog, this record is called demo underscore, and now I'm going to start the workflow. You can always check if it processed anything, and you can see that it processed this record. And if we check now in Cumulus, the file name is now that, and if I do show location, you will see that also the file on disk was renamed. So these are two examples of renaming a file or asset using Roboflow. Thank you for joining this training movie, and see you in the next one.